here we are. We
Here we
had a couple of amazing weeks together, but the problem was that I personally couldn't tell anybody. I know you also couldn't tell anybody. We're walking around, we're thinking, we're in groups of people with whom we usually talk about this kind of stuff, looking at each other from across the room like we couldn't talk about these things. The show was already being advertised. We were still not able to discuss it and, express. So finally, The Masked Dancer has come to the finale.
Woo!
I lost my head.
Quite literally.
Ceremonially. and we can talk about it. And so I think this is the best opportunity that I've ever had to discuss a project and to kind of let people in on, those that were interested on like some things that you never really get to, talk about.
Yeah.
Totally.
And the fact that we are here
Literally.
is even crazier because Mr. Choreographer himself, right? And my partner.
I mean, honestly, what are the odds?
How?
Like, literally, what are the odds?
Just start with that.
Thing?
Start with that. I walked into I don't know when you knew, when you didn't know, but I think you might have set you up. I walked into the room. Go.
I mean, okay, so backtracking to that, he got to be the choreographer, which was crazy, and he choreographed on me. Not that that's even crazier, but like,
what are the chances?
In the commercial world, I would say maybe I've been in it a little bit longer than he has, and the fact that he's come from a different world and is now choreographing on me, it was a complete switch up, and we wanted to keep that as organic and as pure as possible. So I truly didn't want to know all the things he was doing because I wanted it to be real, and I didn't want to be like a cheat in, So I really didn't know what was going on. He found out a couple minutes before I did of who my partner was. I was truly supposed to have a different partner before, and then they switched me because they said I had a different partner. And so I'm thinking all the different things, and I'm asking him like, who is it? I don't know, whatever. And he was just like, you'll see. So then when they were like, okay, we have your partner, you finally got one now, because it was like a week after they told me that I didn't have one and I was gonna get a new one. I didn't know. I got one. So then he finds out who my partner is.
And there's no reason why you're switching partners, right? It was just like,
no, it was like a hey, we're just gonna give you somebody else. There was a switch up in everything. There's whatever, and I was like, okay, no worries, it's totally fine with me.
I like it.
He finds out who my partner was before, and then I'm like, okay, well, I want to know. And then I was kind of just waiting on like things to come back, and then for me to hear. She finally calls me and she's like, hey, Coco, are you here? And I was like, yeah, I'm here. So we met outside and she goes, okay, are you ready to know who your partner is? And I was like, yes. And the best part is that no one really knows how to say your name properly. So,
yes, still.
God forbid.
The best
been
was
out of
when
the spotlight for a minute.
So then she was like, okay, well, your partner is, and she literally was taking the longest time of her life, and she was like, Maxine Schmer. And the second she said Schmer, I was like, no freaking way. I think I cursed. I was like, no effing way. And she was like, do you know him? And I was like, do I know him? I was probably at his house yesterday. And I was like, what? It was, and then he was by the car, like across the street, like just watching my reaction, like laughing because he already knew.
Yeah.
And from then on, it was like,
should have been documented.
It was just history. I know.
I don't document anything.
I mean, I was so shocked that, first of all, I never thought you would even do the show. Second of all, the fact that he's choreographing, I'm your partner, you're the celebrity. It like, I don't even know how many circles that was.
Honestly, I think the coolest part was that, in all honesty, you were a later booking, because I was already working with a couple of characters and masks already, and then they were getting some people to book late, and then all of a sudden they bring up your name. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
I mean, we couldn't believe it, literally.
Yeah, it was.
I want to know how on your side.
Were you happy or were you a little concerned?
I didn't believe it. I was like, I'll wait until he actually signs the contract, and then I'll get excited.
Well, what I said, I was like, I don't know if this is a good thing that we're playing or if it's a bad thing, because I know him too well. I don't know if it's going to be, and then it turned out to be the best.
I mean,
literally it was the best.
It was that for me as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm going to say that You know, I didn't know it was in the plans. The conversation was about something else in relation to the show. And then it sort of pivoted and segued to, hey, would you do it as one of the
Contestant?
characters?
Yeah.
And you know, I thought about it. I really did. And I did one piece of research, just one tiny thing. I went on Masked Singer, which is kind of the only piece of reference that I
Yeah.
would have had to the show. And I have to admit, I never watched it. I've obviously heard of it.
Yeah.
Never watched it.
Same.
Kind of understood the concept, but you know, whatever. Next thing you know, it's a massive show with huge, you know, audience. And
Literally.
I saw the episode where I think Seal got
Oh, yeah,
eliminated.
yeah.
And Seal is my guy. Like, this is my guy. And I'm such a huge fan. I think he's one of the best singers out there. And so I kind of thought about it like, well, if he does a singing show in that genre, why can't I do the dancing show in
dancing
the
show.
same genre?
Which is fair. That's a fair
You know,
question.
he's
Yeah,
a bit
that's true.
he's a pro in his
Yeah.
field, and I'm
Yeah.
you know would consider myself that in mine, and
Yeah.
you know, because we also jaded a little bit by sort of like the foundation of Dancing with the Stars. What shouldn't celebrity be on Dancing with the Stars? They should not be a dancer. You know, however, we've all had dance partners.
Right.
That kind of is the thing. Like, hey, let's see those celebrities duke it out, and you know, supposedly none of them is a pro dancer. So whenever there's someone with that kind of dance ability on the show, we would always frown upon it. So that's where I come from, and I have to say that mass dancer is not that at all.
No,
Not even close.
Not at all.
It's not
Yeah.
that, and you were telling me this, and I
Yeah.
didn't understand it until I was after. I just had to sit down and sort of like
Yeah.
Process.
process.
Yeah.
And
Of
I
course.
realized it's not that show. It's not about how you are unable to dance. I would encourage the producers in the future to cast people that have dance backgrounds. I mean, this is a show for celebrities who do have dance backgrounds and may not have done Dancing with the Stars because they do. You know, it would be incredible to unmask people that have put on amazing performances. I gotta say, it was hard, and you know, I think it's a great sort of moment to for the next question, like something that we could talk about that
Yeah.
nobody knows, is that the semi-final routine was the first routine
Our
that
first
we did.
initial choreographed
The
The
thing that we
first
first
day I
did,
showed
yeah.
up, and you know, can you
threw out some
tell
dance
everybody
moves
like
real quick.
what was that setup like? What was the why was that the first thing we did, and why it got pushed back
Yeah.
later?
Also, I think when we first met, sorry, not to interrupt you, he didn't know. I don't think you knew that I was your partner. Right? Like, I remember thinking, it
was new for
Yeah, it was
everybody.
new for everybody. I mean, we obviously
Right,
knew we had
yes.
you, but you didn't know I was your partner. So then,
I think, I'm not sure. I don't remember. I don't remember if I may have known that you're my partner.
No, I don't
We're
think
so
so.
forced into you do not know anything.
Yeah.
I don't think
yeah.
you knew.
Forget it
I
all.
don't think you knew.
Yeah,
And
no,
because when you came in, I think you took off your thing and you just cursed. Like, you were like,
Holy
I don't-
crap.
Yeah, you were like, holy
yeah, no,
fucking shit. You
listen,
know,
I saw people.
Yeah, you-
I mean, I walked into the room of a brand new production on a completely different network, on a
But you
show
saw our
where I
face.
cannot talk about. I can't talk about
Yeah,
it,
the
and if
secrecy
I
of the
talk
show is
about it,
crazy.
I have to have that
awesome. Mm-hmm.
person sign an NDA. It was crazy. I walk in, and you know, what is my thing is to walk in and then share it, right? Hey, this is what I'm doing. I don't have to do it because
don't have to do any
I
of that.
walk in and there's Kiki, Koko, and Taylor, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, this all the people right here. You know, they can share with us.
Literally.
But yeah, go talk.
Yeah.
Tell us about what was that process? Because I walked in, and then that's the last thing I'll say. But no, you go first, and then I'll add that bit.
Yeah, so initially the concept was like a very intimate, steamy tango with Wild Thoughts as the song.
As the first out of
banger.
the gate number.
First, this is it. What you're doing for Sloth, this is what we're doing. We're asking for a tango to this song. This is the concept. This is the story. make it happen. So I tried my best. It isn't a tango song, so I did my little creative nation, and I just went in what makes sense, what looks good, what will read, and it was a pretty proper ballroom dance. You know, it wasn't like very
I'd
much
say it
out
was
of the
very
boat.
ballroom.
It wasn't like not ballroom. So I put a little spruce in there, but
Wait a minute. What was the original song again? Because I'm not
Wild
realizing
Thoughts.
because it was not the song we ended up dancing to.
No.
yeah. So Wild Thoughts by
Rihanna.
Rihanna, DJ Khaled, or Khaled, Muscuzi,
Khaled.
and Bryson Tiller, the homie.
Bryson Tiller's the one that
And that was like got a samba, boom, ba-da, boom, boom. It's got like a nice upbeat
It was like
to
a
it.
samba tango.
Yeah, it had like that really like.
And that's how we approached it, as like a samba tango.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened
It was
next?
fire. It was too good, pretty much.
So not that it was too good. It was.
No, I'm
it was
kidding, I wasn't too good.
honestly
I'm trying
just
to
too
get him
revealing. It wasn't too good.
We had a lot to work on.
No, it was just too revealing.
Yeah.
In all honesty, like it would have given it, if that was the first dance that you guys executed, that would have been like, okay, we know who it is.
Yeah.
I think,
Honestly, I
personally.
think you could have been in any. You could have been in a costume bigger than the sloth, and it was just too revealing. It was too good.
Yeah, like
I-
only very few people know how to do a samba tango like that.
in a
the
way that
guys
you
did.
actually
In this
knew. Yeah.
combination, and it's also something that not that we aren't always creative, but at the end of the day, you could tell a ballroom dancer. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And also,
Absolutely.
you could tell a ballroom dancer that's probably been doing that.
Yeah.
These moves,
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
not in
especially
this combination.
dancers can tell ballroom dancers.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
maybe not
Yeah.
the average eye, but
But that's the
Yeah.
thing, is that this show was based on, not the super fan, but the fan of this type of show, right? So this new show coming
Like
on
a guessing
TV,
game.
and that person that used to watch dancing or still
That keeps
does
up with
watches
pop
Dancing
culture
Stars.
and
Exactly,
just-
right? So they're watching, they're tuning in. They're the
Yeah.
ones who are like, I think that there were people that
Yeah.
would immediately, as it happened,
Yeah.
it was. So then what happened?
so we
We
took
put
a
an
look at
effort.
it as a team, as a creative team in production, and they said, okay, let's maybe move this
We're
to
gonna
another
save
week,
this. We're
a
gonna put
later
it
week.
in a pocket.
But that was
So
that a week?
it just moved into like a space of like, we'll put it somewhere later on. So thankfully it was like weeks early into the competition. We had some time to prep other dances, but it ended up being
Pushed
okay. Let's go
Semifinals.
for maybe our third dance to maybe our fifth
Yeah.
dance. You know what? Let's save it for the semifinal.
Yeah.
So
because
it,
that's
it
also
went down
kind,
the line.
It kind of felt like the day where, everybody kind of like the cards, not the
Yeah,
cards, the production really threw out all of the key elements of,
Yeah.
in the guessing component.
And
Yeah.
especially on a first season, first couple episodes, like everybody's trying to figure everything out. And I think it was like done in a very finessed fashion that like everything kind of
Like built
meshed
it
the
up?
way that it did, and especially into the later episodes. But it was pretty crazy how it just like shifted, and then it became this thing, and then song changed, and then it's now
Oh, yeah.
like
And
the
then-
reveal dance
so,
almost.
So we came to semifinal, and then I see this Kiki's disappointing face.
No, my face was.
Oh, you were Cox was.
What do you
she
mean?
Was not having it. She hated the
Remember?
fact that the song changed.
Because I was
Oh.
so
and
in
Kiki's
the
like
dance.
just trying to keep it moving, babe. It's a job. Let's
Yeah, well,
just keep going.
Also,
You can't get attached,
But
you
also,
know?
like this
Things are
was
gonna
like,
change on the fly.
of course, and that's fine. But also, I practiced so hard, like
That's true.
ballroom technique.
That's true, you did.
Also, I'm dancing with Max, so I know I need to be on my stuff. And
A game, you could call it your A game.
yeah, I was like rehearsing so much, getting all these steps right, and then when they changed the song, I obviously knew I had to change everything else. So I was like, oh god, I gotta like redo all my steps. I have to like redo my technique every lesson. I mean, well, especially this one because it was ballroom. He was giving me the lessons, and it was awesome. I mean, I learned how to samba
but
roll.
that was the difference. So I walked in on a production where the first thing that happens is something I'm really comfortable with. And
Oh,
at the
yeah.
same time, you walked in on that moment where it's not your thing.
No, not at
You're like,
all.
oh,
And here we
damn.
are. Yeah, and right here we're gonna do a samba roll.
And I was like, what? I know what a samba roll
And
is,
then you got a quick. It's
but I've never done it, and I've
Crash
only ever
course?
tried with him.
Hey.
So I remember you stepped out for a second, and he just gave me like a full crash course of how to do a samba roll, and it came out fire. I did a
I
double
was
turn
just
into
like,
it.
Just
Also, like, and then he was in a huge sloth.
I molded
thing,
you
and,
into
yeah,
a samba roll.
It was great.
No, it was great. You did a great job. You did a great job right away. I already knew, obviously, there was a privilege and an honor to dance with you.
Yeah, but
But this was that. This was
it was
like,
fun.
you know, when dust settled and we laughed it off,
Yeah.
and the job started, it was like, oh crap, now
Yeah.
I got to do this thing, right? So
Hashtag Bollywood too.
then we go into the next, right? So then we
That was
have
your own journey. I was not affiliated
so
there.
then we
That's
keep
great.
it moving, and we went. So the show was
We did every
shot.
style, pretty much.
We could say it, right? So the show was shot.
I think so.
How we were doing. Well, it was confusing schedule in the beginning. We rehearsed, and then
Mm-hmm.
I for 2 days, and then I didn't for 5, and then I got back into it. So that was a period of time when you know the groups were shot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the general schedule, if you will, of the show was that we had like a day for choreography, a day for cleaning, and then it would go into
Dry block.
Dry
a dry
block,
block,
on
and then the
stage.
next day, and additional
Right,
rehearsal
right.
if needed,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the next day is the live taping.
Yes.
And every episode would go like that, right? The next after that, we go into the next episode. So I thought it was great, but I realized it was because that's, I mean, kind of what I do. So I felt like it was easier for me than for a lot of others. Mackenzie probably the same. It felt like, you know, for us it was an easy schedule, but it got a little strange. I'm not gonna lie to you. It got strange because this sort of like, it's easy for me, but at the same time, I don't know what the hell am I doing. I got ribbons in my hands, and now
loved
we're
it.
doing this thing, right? So
How do you think I felt?
it was confusing.
I loved it.
It was confusing. What am I
great
trying
for
to
me.
do? Like, it's not that, you know, it was awesome. I have to tell everybody too. So I walk in, I'm greeted by Mike Riccio, who we go way back with from Dancing with the Stars.
Big
and
homie.
His own dancing and his own behind and in front of screen kind of opportunities. You know, I got contacted by Dan Martin, who was one of the producers in Dancing with the Stars. Also go long way back. Some of the people in charge were people that, again, I grew up with on Dancing with the Stars. So it was amazing to see, for me, to walk in like, and everybody I'm meeting
Yeah.
and talking to,
Yeah.
and it's turning into a team is somebody that I go way back with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Culminating in you choreographing me every day, and you know, you being my partner. So this was, I couldn't lose, but like metaphorically speaking, right?
Yeah.
But it was a little strange because I didn't know what's happening. I didn't know the flow, and the only thing that I want to say is when I was given this, when I was presented with this opportunity, when I said yes, I said under one condition. I don't want to be responsible for anything. In the sense of like, I just want to show
cool.
up
Yeah.
and be
good for
told
you.
exactly what to do. I don't want to be in the way of respond like he's a dancer. Let's give him 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 to choreograph his own thing because
I
he's
see.
gonna be doing
Right,
it.
right, right.
He's gonna be happy. You know, no. I want to be told every step, and then I want to have the freedom to make it mine, right? So I wanted that kind of show and that kind of opportunity. I felt like the one time I'm going to be on the other side,
That's very cool.
you know,
Yeah,
I want a
totally.
full experience of that.
Totally.
And I was coming in worrying about, you know, how my face is not going to turn, you know, backwards or something like that.
Also pretty difficult.
Yeah,
But I
that's
think
a
that's
whole nother thing.
a cool little process because like half the time, like you said, you are really like engaged in that whole situation. What like the
Well,
process
he's
that
usually
you know.
the one that has to make the other person not
Yeah.
better, but like, you know, you're usually the boss.
The responsibility,
The
of
responsibility,
end result
yeah.
product is,
Yeah.
is on
It's
the
based on
shoulders.
you usually.
I was watching him like really be not nervous, but like
He
in
was
it.
now
Like
where
he
you- yeah.
needed to figure this out,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna be the element that does not stand in the way. But I did not want to contribute. I was just like, I wanted to just.
Well, I think it was pretty successful.
I wanted to enjoy the process.
It was great.
So I just want to say that, like, that's all the credit where it's due is there, right? So I was not making my own stuff up, and I was just offering.
Also, I knew this
opportunities.
going in, and I didn't want you to participate more than you were supposed to. Like, if you wanted to be like, hey, maybe we could do, I would have placed you where you needed to and been like, hey, I want you to enjoy it and really just experience it for what it is. And if it's another responsibility than what you're literally contracted to, then that's a whole different ballgame, you know?
I think what made this whole process so special is, like, you stayed in your lane, he stayed in his lane, I stayed in my lane, and then we literally, like, were diligent.
We became the highway.
I hate you. We were diligent enough to really, truly stay in our lanes, where at times I was uncomfortable, where at times I was like, yes, we're doing a Broadway jazz, and he was like, oh, but Taylor got you straight, or Kiki got you straight, and then there was times where he might have wanted to make input, but he didn't, and you got to, and I think everybody staying in their own lanes made it that much more special and rewarding at the end, because it's like we didn't cheat it. We really truly stuck to
it was
what we
honestly
were.
organic more than anything. It wasn't
great.
like we tried anything. It just happened the way it did, and it was great.
It was awesome.
Was I difficult?
No.
Tell the people
No.
the
No,
truth.
I would say no, not at all.
You know what? I will say
She was a little nervous
I
going in.
was very nervous going in.
She was like, "Uh-oh, we gotta make sure that he is
I was like,
not gonna this and not
I
gonna
was
that."
like, I'm really nervous because I'm not one to say anything. So if you ever did something, I'll just be like,
What did you expect? Like, what were your expectations?
She thought you would take over. In all honesty,
And be difficult.
not just
No,
take it, but
not
just
be
like
difficult. I just thought, like, I didn't know how this was gonna work. I didn't know.
Just be bossy and tell people what to do.
No,
and like,
not like that. I just wasn't sure if you, or maybe I just wasn't sure you'd be super open to
New
something
styles
totally
or-
foreign,
yeah.
aka Bollywood. But then when I saw you in the rehearsal and you were like, just do it and I'll do it. And I was like, that's my Max, that's it. I was so proud. I was
Because that
texting
was
you.
the approach too. Everybody was super like walking on eggshells a
Yeah.
little bit with this Bollywood, and
I
Nakul
was
came
so
in
excited.
and he was so
He was
great.
great. He
was
was great.
so great
Yeah.
with all his energy and
Yeah.
all his stuff. But the approach felt like you have to be like that with him and this and that, and I was like. When I felt, I was like, listen, I just want everybody to be clear. You turn around and it's just a follow the leader situation. I don't want to be kind of like, talked into doing things. Tell me what to do, right?
Yeah.
But that's
No,
the
you
funny
handled it
thing is
great.
like, towards the end of last sort of quarter of my Dancing with the Stars participation was about that. My mind not changed, but the show evolved into opportunities where I got to experience other things. I never said no to hip hop and modern and contempt. I wasn't that guy. There was a misconception that the purists on Dancing with the Stars, which is a ballroom-based show, the me, the Louis, the whoever, we were pushing ballroom only. That's not true. I had some of the best time, experiencing other things, and then. We got to do some of this on tours, and there were other opportunities. So I'm really into that until my that's why I'm keeping my body able, because I want to try other stuff, right?
Yeah.
And on the level where it's like, oh, I did that.
Yeah,
that was great.
yeah. Like actually.
So with this, it's funny, because that's how if that's how I come across. I need to.
Well, it's just not even that you come across. It's just something that you've been doing for that long. So it's like it's hard not to
even
picture
try
you.
other stuff.
Well,
Not
it's
even try
also
other
so
stuff,
hard
but,
because yeah, kind of like what he was saying. You were always the one teaching others. Where now it was kind of a turn where he and I get to teach you something, and I was just like, oh God, how is he going to take this? And then after the first day, I was like. I was texting my mom and I was like, Mom, Max is the best partner ever. I love him. Well, technically I'm not supposed to tell my mom, but I told my mom. But whatever. I was like, my partner's the best. It was so great. I was so happy. I was texting your wife and I was like, yeah, this is amazing.
Peter's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What are you guys
What's
doing?
happening?
I just like,
Meanwhile,
what?
I come home for 2 weeks and she's like, you guys all hanging out together and stuff.
I know.
You know, I got a big grin on my face. It's like, I don't like it. I don't like anything about this.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What was your?
Did you raise your hand?
I did. I always
That's
raise
great.
my
Respectfully.
That is great.
What was your favorite routine that we did? Or not, maybe not favorite, but what would you?
Memorable.
Yeah, like what was just the one that you could
I
point
see what
out?
you're trying to ask.
Yeah.
I honestly,
Just out of curiosity.
first of all, have to say that the routines do not reflect my experience.
Oh, okay.
Like watching TV does not show
Do justice to what the process
fully
was.
to what I felt like, or to probably like all of the celebrities. You know, all the masks, whatever you call them, called us.
Characters.
It was interesting because it was a lot harder, like just physically was obviously to move this thing, and I don't know if it's obvious, but to move that outfit was tough.
Yeah.
Well, I think it depends on the actual costume itself. Like yours was a full-on.
Well, I imagined everybody
thing.
was.
I mean,
was
everybody-
Some people
was
have like a
hard,
little
though,
sleeve with like a cape and it looks like a thing, but like yours was full on.
I had a belly and
Full-on
everything. It was
belly,
interesting.
yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I had a different experience than what it looks like. And so, and from that perspective, I think one of my favorite routines was definitely the one where you start on the piano.
Or Broadway. Yes.
Broadway number.
Yes. I love that one too.
I really liked it,
I like
but
that
it
one too.
didn't show.
Yes,
that
yes,
way.
yes.
There were moments that I loved the most that would show like judges' reaction or something like that. I don't blame anybody. It's not the point.
That was a fun process.
Yeah, the car was great, but the dance itself was a great piece that we did.
I agree.
I was gonna say that all the routines were short. Like
you wish they were
I wish they
longer?
were a little longer.
Yeah.
Like if you're already doing just one off.
This would have stressed me out a little bit more. Just a couple more minutes.
Like if this was a minute, I would have wanted a minute and a half. You know, if this was a minute and a half, I would have wanted two.
Yeah,
you know, like just
That's a great thing.
15
That's
more
a great
seconds
compliment.
on the top, you know, on both sides. But that was great. I wish I got into understanding the whole point of the show sooner in terms of like the gameplay and all that stuff, because now I get it. There could have been elements in the dance itself that were fun and interesting too. We had some legendary performances.
We sure did.
But we also
yes, you
had
did.
some legendary moments of sheer confusion. And then one of those moments is definitely the ribbon dance. We have to talk about it. What was that, Kicks? Because you were there when this thing was drawn up. And I, as the rest of the humans that watched it, would like to know what was the process of drawing that up? Like, how did it come about? This was dance number 2, right?
This was dance number 2.
Yeah.
For the sloth?
Yes.
And the idea was, at this point, we were all on the same page. We just need to not dance that good.
We
know
can't
how
do
to say
anything remotely familiar to
what you
anybody's
do.
eye.
Yeah.
We have to just misdirect and all of the above.
Misdirection. That was the name of the game.
And the
I
misdirect
kept hearing it.
was to literally do a ribbon dance.
Yeah, I mean, it was also a misdirect for me. When they mentioned it, I was like, you got me. You got me.
Why ribbon dance? Or was just something that...
It was more like, why not ribbon dance?
Yeah.
Why not? That's true.
It was so
Like-
random. It doesn't make any sense. Let's make it a dance.
How could we throw off the sloth
This is
even
what-
more?
Throw off
Yeah.
the sloth. We like that.
So there were 2 games. I didn't know. I thought that I thought that I was part of the team, but there was a game that I was part of, and then a game that I was not
We
part
can't
of.
make it too easy for you.
The
you know what I'm
game
saying?
was how do we throw off the sloth, and then also how do we throw off the public.
Yeah, it was
Basically.
literally
Guessing
both.
who the
Yeah.
sloth is. Yeah, so that's when I got, obviously,
That's when you kind of like dove in.
that's when I got Will
into
Ferrell.
Yeah.
basically. And
Absolutely.
you were, I would say from the outside, you were like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen week to week, so I'm going to just let go.
He literally
I think
said-
that was
You
the
felt that
episode.
that's how it was,
Yeah.
yeah?
That's
you
what I
dove
felt
in.
at
I
least.
think
Yeah.
that's how it...
Because
yeah.
it was for me, I was like, okay, I'm going to be throwing a bunch
Because
of stuff.
I was coming...
So was he. So
I was coming home, and then Peter was like, "So how was your day, babe?" But like, it's hard to explain. It's hard to
I bet.
describe. But I need therapy for my shoulder, and I have that to show for it, and
Yeah.
it was fun.
It was
interesting.
definitely a new experience, I think, for all three of us. I mean, I was literally, I think I posted it on Instagram and I said I never thought I'd be doing a ribbon dance, and then I never thought I'd be doing it with like a stuffed sloth. Like I never thought that I would do that in my life, and
I
it
was
turned.
the stuffing.
Yes, you were the stuffing, and I never thought that would actually come to life, and it did. And I mean, we rehearsed.
What's that
So
element
long.
in the back? Can you tell people what's in the back? What's happening in the back? Now that they'll definitely go
what is
back
that
and
called?
rewatch the show.
What is it called? The thing that was.
The like
Oh my
The
god! It was
circle.
called something.
It was called
It was off of a
Maypole.
movie. A maypole. Yes.
a maypole. And
I'm
what
glad
was
that
it
I was the first to discover what the word
and
was.
what was it standing for? It stood for fertility dance.
Oh, I
It
mean, we
was
all
all
said it was a
about-
fertility.
It was all about that.
Yes, I mean, so at the end of it, they were like, okay, because this dance, if they can relate it in some way, it was to relate you and PETA and the fact that you had shy.
Right.
Somewhere in there was a moment in time where that was said. So to make that
It had to
happen,
look like the scene out of what was that
we had
scary
to
movie?
move. We had to make a baby sloth. And
Baby,
so,
so
and
then
so-
baby
Say no
sloth.
more. I will make it happen.
So when they
So
said,
then Baby Sloth came out, and then how was that? So, oh, by the way, here.
well, first when they told me, they were like, okay, yeah, and then you know you're gonna do this ribbon dance, and then at the end you guys are gonna have a baby sloth, and I was like,
And we did practice with a tissue box.
What was the first
We did.
question? What was the first question you asked when they said, and then you're gonna have Baby Sloth?
I don't think I asked a question. but
I have a question
I
that
was
I would've
laughing, and then I said, I was like, let me text PETA. I was like, this is
Can
some,
I have?
this is some weird.
Can I have
Oh shit!
your? How would you even? What did you text Peter?
I was
What did
just
you
like,
say?
I was just like, Pete, I'm having a baby sloth with your husband. I don't know. I probably said that for real. I have text where I was like, Peter, I don't even call Max anymore. I only call him Sloth because on the show, with everyone, with the other dancers, no one knows who Sloth is. No one knows who you are. Literally, all the other dancers don't know who you are. So when I had to talk to them about my partner, or we had to talk or anything, we just have to keep calling you Sloth. And at first I sucked because obviously I want to call you Max. But then after a while, I got in such a hang of calling you Sloth. I would go to your house and be like, Sloth. I mean, like it was now the other way around. So it was funny. I would
What did
text
you tell
Peter.
Peter?
I was just like, I'm having a baby sloth with your husband. I don't know.
My first
Hope
question
you're
would be
fine with
like,
that.
I know, but the best was PETA because she's so damn cool. She was like, yeah, girl, get it on. And I was like, that's my girl.
I got pimped out.
love
What my first question would have been like, where is it? How is it appearing?
Send me the link.
How does
even
it?
know.
How does it appear to being?
But
Did
when
you,
we-
uh,
when
did
we
you
got to
not
the
ask
stage-
from like the creative standpoint, like yeah,
Well, they had
Great.
it all laid out. So it was,
Yeah.
but did they say and right here there's gonna be a box and then you're gonna put an arm?
Final
in?
pose
Yeah.
is gonna be.
They
A
made
reveal.
it. Okay,
They had
that's
a baby.
great. I
and
love
then
that.
and then when we got there, you don't really know what to expect.
So
but
you
then
didn't have to figure out the box with the.
no, it was kind of figured
Well,
out.
that was
no?
kind of like a midway. How is it gonna happen? How do I
How could we
choreograph
incorporate
it
it into
into
the dance?
the piece?
Yeah.
But
Love it.
I mean, at first it was like, at the end of it, baby, and I was like, okay, must leave room for baby, and the rest happened earlier.
So funny.
Leave
When,
some
I mean, when,
space
he,
for baby.
when the guy, when the prop guy came on stage and he was like, "I think this is for you." I finally saw from the PowerPoint what this baby sloth was gonna look like. And when he handed it to me, and I put my hand in there, and I saw the little sloth come out. It was dressed exactly in your outfit. It was just like a mini you. It was literally the best. I was so happy, but I will say that was the most stressful part of the dance. Because if we all
Yeah,
remember
big stress.
how to get that out in 1 second with my small hand,
It was just a long sock,
it was
but
a moment.
we all did a great job.
We all did a great job, especially
We persevered.
we did a great
Yeah,
job
we-
with ribbons, and then we had a different set of ribbons.
That's
We
right.
sure did.
And then they would throw in the last second, like, we need you right here as a ribbon solo.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and you did a little star
So I
jump.
had to do star jump.
Which was very
This-
professional,
this
and
thing
you
has a
executed
name.
it lovely.
Yeah.
It was great. All right.
said-
So I wanted to talk about
Okay.
really quickly the Bollywood number. You called me. You were like, or you texted me, and you were like, all mysterious and stuff. And I don't know what to expect anymore. And then it's Bollywood, and I was like, why? I remember thinking like, what? I mean, she really does not give me any credit.
I didn't know you
She's
knew
like-
Bollywood.
I didn't. I mean, I didn't know Bollywood. I don't know anything. I just know just show me what it is. Like,
So just
I'll
be
do that.
open.
Well, I think she kind of was like,
I was
"Hey,
nervous.
Kiki's he's gonna freak out.
He's not gonna.
Max
be
will
that.
probably freak out too."
Yeah, maybe that's why. Because when you had Bollywood on So You Think, it was.
Yeah, that's
You
another
got-
thing.
you
It was
guys
quite
had
an
a Bollywood
adventure.
experience
So
on a
then when
different
you,
show,
I was, maybe I
right?
was kind of.
Oh,
just
so you're
thinking
making all of us now with the same.
the
Like
same.
we're similar.
We are
I mean,
similar.
hello,
We're
kind
different.
of. Yeah,
We
true.
are, but no, I
No,
had
you
a
had it
great
like a
time.
champ.
I honestly, again, I felt like it could have been a longer performance. But I understand. I
was
get
so
it.
fun.
It's just like to even things out.
Yeah.
But
For
it was
sure,
a lot of
the
fun.
broken foot move.
Oh, that
is-
was the
that's
best part.
epic.
That was the best
That's
part.
my favorite.
broken foot for everybody again. That was the thing. Like, I don't know if it translated.
How could we make it comedic?
You know,
was
but
the
I don't
thing.
know if it showed when
Right.
when the show came out and I was watching it in real time. I was like, I don't know. Maybe like I'm too on the nose, as they say, but I don't know if it felt like people saw. Oh wait, my ankle's broken. You know?
Yeah.
I think it's funny. I think it was great.
Now, given what I see, I would definitely make Sloth look up a little more.
Oh yeah.
You see what I was talking about now, right?
Oh, well, I wanted to ask you though, like, how was your process, if you can explain it, being inside the actual mask?
So yeah, I mean, so there's a bicycle, helmet, and the whole thing is built on bicycle helmet. And I'm assuming it's like this with all the other masks,
Right.
Because that's how it was explained to me. There's a lot of the bicycle helmet, a lot of foam, a lot of sort of like a foamy structure, and then they put these things on top. I got the character. It was a very sort of like, two-dimensional,
Right.
picture. Somebody
Sketch,
drew,
yeah.
like on an iPad, and it was like, it's a sloth. Okay. And so that was the first moment after where I had to sort of like, I'm not sure, I need to make a decision. After I had said that I don't, I want this to be like a chilling experience where I don't pull myself in a strange direction by
That fits the
saying
sloth
no,
description
by
perfectly,
saying
by the
no,
way.
right? So like if stuff comes up, let's do it.
Right.
This, sure. That, let's go. So bang. Your character is sloth. I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Hold up.
Hold on a minute.
But also amazing.
Everything in my head, in my soul, I'm gonna call it ego, right? Well, wait a minute. Why not a liar?
Whoa, hold
You know
on.
what I'm saying? Like,
Why not a liar?
Let's have a conversation.
let's ego.
I think it was perfect that you were sloth.
Something, with musculature and
No.
stuff.
But
I
instead,
gotta and I
You got a
gotta
beer
sloth.
belly
you got a
instead.
beer belly.
And that was the first test, and I was like, you know what? I committed to this process to
Yeah.
be a certain way. I'm gonna
Might as well.
start
Might as well.
at the very least. And I was like, let's do it. And,
Best way to do it.
and the producers were like, so do you like the collars? I'm like, I'm down for whatever.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
that's
that's
kind of like
great.
how it became my thing.
I was gonna say I love the colors. I didn't know if you had a say in it or not. I had no idea, but I loved it.
I didn't say anything. I
I
could have
loved it.
probably had say,
Yeah.
but I didn't say anything.
No, I thought it was great.
Very
I thought
different kind of colors
Yeah.
than I expected.
Yeah, but I
hey,
thought it made it more like, I don't know, approachable.
great.
More, yeah, it was great.
Everything, it was perfect.
It was
Yeah.
perfect.
The thing is that it's a process. So I had an Under Armour layer, kind of something, right? And and then the socks, obviously, and then
The rhinestone
the
toes.
tights with like a fur this thick with
Yeah.
the legs,
You were the most
then they
huggable
were
person
up to here.
on the show.
right? But that thick, and then the bodysuit, and there was basically a giant jacket that I would put on, backwards. So this was the back,
I didn't know that.
and the zipper was in the back, right? And they built all this fur on top,
And your
there was
belly.
like a huge belly, and and then I had a ski mask, this helmet, and then I felt claustrophobic right away. I was like the first.
I was going to say, from the
time
first
putting
show
on
to
a
the
mask,
last show.
it was a cake.
Yeah.
After that,
Nice.
but the first couple of shows, it was uncomfortable, and it felt
I can
like
imagine.
It's scary. You don't
it
know.
felt weird, and it felt like I just had a bit of claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Thing. I don't know why.
Well, you
No,
said
it
you
makes
were
sense.
talking about your posture, so you were mentioning that you can only see from like a specific
That's what I was going to
eyesight,
say.
or
Yeah.
like it's almost tunnel vision.
I would definitely, had I done it again, I would have to spend more time with the mask on purpose.
But like you
Sure,
mean
to
like
try to
with
get
the
your-
costume
Just
people.
to figure out, because
like
I think
maneuver.
himself to like
because
just practice.
no, it's not about them. Because at one point they said, "Here's the costume," and there was some things that I did change. Like for example, in my eyes, right where Sloth's eyes are, there was a mesh
yeah.
kind of material. I asked for that to be taken off, and just to leave. Oh no, there was a mesh material, but then there was also like a clear plastic stuff, and. The first time I put it on, I was breathing out, and the
Oh, it
air
was
Oh, it was
fogging
tough to
up?
breathe.
stayed,
Yeah, I do
stayed
remember
right
that.
here because there was no ventilation.
I see.
It was
I see.
terrible.
I see.
They removed it, and it was like
better.
night and day.
Yeah,
I could breathe,
yeah.
but it was still very limited breathing, and also the nose was right here, and so you have to kind of like
You have to like adjust to
like
what
see
you're doing.
above
Yeah.
it, and so that's why Sloth a lot of times looking down because I'm looking above
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
the line side should be.
No, makes sense.
But having said that, Oscar De La Hoya with the zebra had like
This
like
crazy
black
Yeah.
strips to look through. So
Yeah.
he didn't have
Yeah.
anything to
Yeah.
see. Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's very
It's
cool.
a task, you know,
Yeah.
like you have to get used to it. I can only imagine.
It was great. The spins, spirals, all the stuff, holding on to the head. I didn't want to lose.
My bad, yo.
It was great. I didn't want to lose the head, but I was like, I just want to do it.
Yeah.
'Cause
I know,
think
you were like,
should
I
do
just
it.
want to
No, you
succeed.
were great. You were great.
What was this? Did anything stood out? I have to say that the caliber of dancers,
Oh,
worth a huge mention because it was another thing. Like this was the first show post-pandemic, not post. We were still in pandemic.
Yeah.
But it was the first sort of like thing that, they found a way to figure out how to work within the restrictions, and there were a lot. But the nature of the show was such secrecy that it kind of played along
Yeah.
with it, so it was okay.
Yeah.
We were limited in capacity in terms of rehearsals.
I mean,
Yeah.
it would have been like that to begin with.
Right.
Maybe,
Yeah, minus all the testing.
Yeah.
So,
Every single day,
but
which was great.
which was great.
Which was great. Yeah.
it was great. But I'm saying that the fact that it was the first big production in
Yeah.
town, the entire dance industry was aware of it. Again, to the point that I couldn't talk about anything. Entire industry is aware of it. Everybody knows that it's happening, but but it was also interesting to see who the people behind were. Can you just talk about like the caliber of dancers in the back? 'Cause
Yeah.
this is
I mean-
we are that sort of place to boast about.
Totally.
Our own.
Totally. I mean, when I got this job, I knew that I was going into a load of dancers, obviously, that are amazing. But when I got to know each one of them, I mean, one of them is Beyonce's dance captain, aka like single ladies, aka like right hand. The other one works for Beyonce just as much and is on her tours since the beginning. The other one's on Janet Jackson. The other one is on Backstreet Boys. I mean, you name it, everybody on this team is so diverse and versatile and just like truly incredible.
And a big participant in how dancing and
Yeah.
movement
Yeah.
in television
Yeah.
and on stage is represented.
Absolutely.
And just storytelling in general. 'cause,
Exactly.
like,
They
at the
just
end of
kind of
the
knew what
day-
to do without even saying it because they're just so experienced. And
Yeah.
so
I think we were
mean,
privileged to have incredible
Exactly.
dancers and just super talented
Yeah.
and just like ready to do whatever it took.
Yeah.
And
since
we
this
had
was a
that.
new experience for all of us, it was the first season. Nobody's ever really done this before. They've all done Masked Singer before, but they've never done Dancer, where each person was assigned. And I mean, to see like the support for every person and their partners, and we were so invested in each other's partners, and not even knowing who they were, but just the fact that we know how hard they worked with their partner, and like every week when it came to the part where the eliminations were happening, we were all like just holding each other, so nervous because we were just excited for each other, and it was great. The caliber was so up there. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
So, I have a question, like, you know, because I know you, and again, I know this town and this industry and the flow of things, and, you know, we sort of finger in the pulse of what's happening. You know, it seems like the Kiki and Coco combo sweeping the town right now in terms of any kind of job opportunity.
I don't mean to
you're
swear,
the busiest couple. You're definitely the busiest dance couple in the biz. In the biz, I think I could say that. What was it? What, like, how? What's your post? So you think building and
Oh,
so
man.
that been like, and where you are now, where it's seemingly way different than where it started, and it was only a few years. It's not like you guys have been together for a decade.
Yeah.
I think I don't know how to word this correctly, but I think what I've learned from him is that you don't have to try so hard. If you are yourself,
That is what you would learn
Don't
from.
try hard.
that is literally what you would learn from Kiki. But if you are
Interesting.
authentically yourself, and when you do dance, you freaking shine and you show
Beep,
everything that you've got.
beep.
Yeah, like if you do what you got to do when the
agree.
moment is happening, and you're a good person, good things will come. And I feel like he has shown me that, just because I feel like maybe in this industry I've been in it like a couple years more in my specific, not yours, but in my specific one. It's hard to like not try. You want to try and you want to do all these things, but then when he came in, he kind of was just like, Coco, it'll come to you. If it's supposed to come to you, it'll come to you. And then just watching him work on what he does and him getting opportunities from it, and seeing how organic everything just kind of went into play, and how we can play off of each other and give each other like, hey, I think you should do this instead, or why don't we push for this? Like, I think giving each other a little bit of that, it's truly made all the difference. I don't know, I feel like you've taught me to just chill. If Kiki could teach anyone
Glad
how
I
to
could be of
chill,
service.
Kiki is the chillest human being I think anybody knows if you know Kiki.
No, I mean, I've been in the dance industry for a long time, and I've competed a lot in my life, and then I've kind of hit this LA scene where it's like working and a different kind of work.
Yeah.
And there's like a level of stress that people add to themselves that you just
That's
don't
me.
need to add, and including myself. And it takes a learning experience. So you being a little younger, I don't want you to I don't want to see you go through that as much as I did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that could go for everybody. I feel like just adding a level of stress that you don't need to add on yourself, even though you don't know that, you have to just kind of take a step back and just let life do its thing, and you not try to take over too hard, or whatever the case. Everybody has their journey, but yeah, I mean, I learned so much about myself, about how people work, about how life works, about how work works.
I also feel like I stress too much and you don't stress enough. So I think that's
Probably.
where the mix is great.
But that's where the balance
No, I
comes
think the balance is great.
Perfectly balanced.
Yeah, because I think I stress too much and you don't maybe sometimes stress enough, where you could push yourself and you don't, and then
Yeah.
that's where
What
I'm
a
like,
way to put it. I stress too much and you don't stress enough.
Yeah.
Stress more.
No, but that's
Like,
that's the
literally
reality
saying
of it.
or just like a little tap in the booty, like, come on,
Do
you
you
got
think
this.
that
you got
you
this.
that stress is necessary? If you don't stress enough, kind of means that.
I think it's kind of like you need a balance of
'Cause I
knowing
have
when
a-
to push
I have a
yourself and when
Kiki
to not.
in my household too. Because Peter is that she just wants it to
Really?
stress free.
Yeah, that's true, that
and
is
so
true.
she balances me out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know your mind goes a mile a minute, like every.
Which you guys got to know each other
Yeah,
extremely
yeah.
well.
She
From this
balances me
experience.
out, right?
Yeah.
But they are also, you and Peter are
The same.
Makes me sick.
the same. But
We digress.
the same
I love her.
person, but we digress. What is the next? What are next steps in your opinion? And this is reality now and nowadays and in now 2021. End of February. Where are you and what do you think? What are you planning on?
Honestly,
if anything.
like
I don't
take what
think-
you can get.
Well,
In your thing.
in the year 2021, honestly, with work also being super scarce for a lot of people in a lot of different
Especially
professions.
artists, yeah.
Yeah, and artists especially trying to find what's available and what's like acceptable and like abides by the rules, and it's very difficult. Just keep bettering yourself. Whatever your craft is, just keep going for it and pushing a boundary or challenging yourself or just fine-tuning or maintaining whatever that can be. I feel like that's a necessary step for you. As far as work goes, you gotta keep your fingers crossed, man.
Also, not being afraid to like venture out into doing other things.
Yeah, different
I feel
avenue,
Like
yeah,
I've spoken
absolutely.
to you so many times about like, I think I want to open a restaurant. I think I want to do this. I think I want to do, and there's so much more that honestly I was like, why am I thinking these thoughts? Like, am I, like, I know I love dance, but
the
why
thing
do I
is, at the
want to
same
do other
time,
things?
It's okay to think those thoughts.
Absolutely, but I think that's
it is
what-
okay. No one's gonna beat you up
Again,
about
stress case. I'm like, why do I want to do something other than
Think
dance?
after
Yeah.
this, everybody's gonna be like, I'm gonna need like 15 minutes with Kiki.
I know.
Like 30 minutes with Kiki.
He's
Okay,
literally
yeah.
like the
Totally.
one that's like, and I'm like,
Yeah, just ask
Yeah.
Kiki. What would Kiki say?
Yeah, what would
It's not,
Kiki
it doesn't
do?
matter. Like just ask him a question.
She'll
hear
have
an
moments
answer.
like that. She'll
Hear
be
an
like,
answer.
babe, guess what I did today? And she'll be like, I was breathing. I was like, great, babe. Keep it going.
I was doing what you would
Don't
do. It works.
You
I mean,
guys are
whatever.
hilarious. All right, so we are not in chronological order, but we got to the finale. Right now, we're in the finale. I have to say that there were sentences in the beginning when I was offered this. Hey, so it's gonna be your forte, right? Along those lines. But I was never told that I was gonna win or not or lose or whatever. It was not like that. It was like we think you'll be in the finals, right? Because right now we pretty much see that it would be
Oh, that's cool.
you and two others. And I was like, okay, cool. So at the very least, I knew there were two others that could move. I have to mention that I didn't see them or any of the
Oh, yeah,
performances.
no.
I had
I
no
don't think
idea who the
anybody
people
knew
are.
anyone.
And nobody saw each other's stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that it was Mackenzie, and I didn't know there was Gabby, and I had no idea what the dances were like. I just heard that one of the characters fell one time in the beginning. That was it.
That was scary.
That's all I did. So, we're in the finals. We made it. We had a...
That was a hard one for me.
I was proud of everybody, man. Honestly, like
I
just
think-
seeing the start to the finish, a privilege to be there for all of it. To see you guys just take off with your characters and just do what you guys did on stage during a crazy time. It was incredible. It was awesome.
You don't need to raise
You
your
can
I'm
hand.
sorry, I don't want to disturb, but I wanted, before it runs out of the tip of my tongue.
Yeah,
Go.
For me,
This is also our...
For me-
We're not going to run out of
for
show.
me, the finale.
Okay, commercial break. I'm sorry, guys. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, I was like, dang it.
Crushed your heart.
For me, the finale week,
Yes.
for me, was very emotional. Number one, I think because I was at home making
Why?
because I didn't want it to end, and I
it's
was
'cause of me.
She also
yes!
made a scrapbook of your
Yes,
entire
she
or
did.
and
yours
when I tell you,
journey.
well, because I'm a Cancer and the way that I am, I'm very like I hoard everything and every memory and anything that just feels good to me. And so I kept everything, and I was, like, this whole journey for me was so awesome that when things that I love come to an end, not an end, but, an end for the show, I get very emotional. And knowing it was our last dance, I felt like feeling his stress of like, okay, we got to make this the banger, him and Taylor, we got to make this good. Everybody's kind of like stressed. It's the last one. The first rehearsal that we had, I think like we were in a weird moment. Like for the first time this whole season, I feel like as a couple too, and as working, people, we were so good. And for the first time that last episode, not that we clashed, but we just had like, I think it was me, I was just over emotional and everything was bothering me. I remember you even asked me.
By the way, we think that you're over emotional all the time.
Yeah,
but
I remember you even asked me, you're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But inside I was like, ah! But I was like, I don't know what, I still to this day, I'm like, I was just
exactly
emotional.
What it is.
I was just emotional, and I was just like,
of this
yeah, I was like,
season,
it amped
this
so
journey,
high,
yeah.
and I didn't want to disappoint, and for me to do something wrong or whatever it was. But that rehearsal, I remember thinking like, oh my God, this is our last one, and it was this, and I remember we finished the dance.
There was a lot of pressure on a rehearsal.
We finished our dance, I mean, a second before we could, and that was so scary.
That was when the dancers really shined. Aside from you,
That's
the
when
dancers
the
were learning
dancers-
so many other routines in that day.
Right.
Within
It was
the
kind
30
of like the
minutes of
moment.
seeing them.
Yeah, it was the moment where everybody had reached their maximum point of.
What else do we have to do, and how quick?
Like how can we
How do I
make
get out of here?
How can we make this? No, how can we make
No,
this
the job
entire
gets-
episode
yeah,
work?
the job
like
gets to it.
yes, and how can we make this finale be a finale? As I think what everybody thought in their heads, and at that point it was like everyone's emotions were so high. We were in this for almost 2 months, and we were seeing each other every day with the same people, literally the same people, and I think it was just one of those like psh moments. And I remember having to go home and being like, this is gonna work out.
You're gonna
Like
be okay.
Max loves this, I love this, we're gonna be okay. And then it
But I
ended up
think
being
it's-
so good.
I think it was also the fact that it was something coming to an end.
Yes.
And
I get very
for me-
sad about that.
for me, something came to an end 18 times in
Yeah.
15 years.
Yeah.
Every 6 months,
You were used
there
to
was
the
something that
finale.
would be so
Yeah.
big and important in your
Yeah.
life would then make its way, come to an end, and yet another relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
would
it was
be
so
formed
sad.
and
It was
moved
like-
on and all
yeah.
this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Sometimes on our show, Dance with Start, like sometimes you would be saved by I guess on that kind of like
I get what you're saying.
personal level if your partner really was like a shitty person. Because then
you guys
you
just
don't
didn't
get attached, you just
Connect.
keep it moving, right?
Yeah.
Next, right? So if you get a couple of seasons like that and you don't really get attached, you're actually good, better off, right? But getting
Yeah, when you-
attached like that, I
yeah.
can't imagine. Like I want us to keep working,
Yeah.
so we never really stopped, right? But I can't imagine constantly having this sort of connection, and then it comes to an end.
Yeah, like,
then
luckily we still have
then it
this.
exactly, because we moved past on,
Right.
like.
But also
Right.
because of this, you were both super invested, like double the
Yeah.
investment. You know?
Yeah.
You were like, okay, we're together, we know each other.
For life
Yes.
now.
Let's pull up.
Yes.
We better pull up. I'm looking, it was a thing.
Yeah, it was really different. I think like we had a very rare case where we knew each other before the show, and we know that we were going to know each other for the rest of our lives after the show. So in between that, it's like we were both thinking like, how do we make this the best experience for the both of us, and for the three of us, and for all 12 of us. I mean, it was so cool. The whole thing just organically wrapped itself the way it should, and I couldn't be happier, honestly, with how everything came out.
Yay.
Same.
You're the winner in our books, you know that.
But I did not, and let's
Yeah,
wrap with
but
that.
I mean,
Let's
Actually-
end with that.
you
What
were
do you-
my
what do you- what do you think?
you were my winner.
What does
Well,
that
that's
mean?
a little
What does
biased.
that
Also,
mean?
I'm
What does
biased.
that even
Also,
mean?
you're biased.
You're super biased, by the way.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not
it's my
biased.
partner.
I know that it's not a competition. I was groomed to think that way.
I'm gonna say that. What on the real though? What it's not a question, but like if there was a question, what I think.
If someone were to ask
I mean,
you,
literally, I'm the most biased person to ask because you're my partner. So I think,
yeah, maybe
obviously,
I think you
yeah,
should stay quiet.
I should shut up.
No, I think it was exactly
was great.
as it was meant to
Yes.
be, or meant to happen. I think that, you know, I had a need for the show as in the exact same way as the show had a need for me.
Absolutely.
I think so too. I think
and
so
I
too.
think that we both got everything out of each other, and I think that's an incredible
Yes.
way to spend time, to spend a job, to do a job, to be part of a project, to
Yeah.
start and finish. I wish I knew that or thought that way or felt that would work that way, you know, since 2005, but I didn't.
But I think that's what makes
I
this
worked
so
a little
special.
bit different, and I think I've accumulated a bunch of stuff
Right.
that I needed to experience, and then that we're gonna keep. This
We're gonna
doesn't
keep that in
work.
But also,
2009.
it is a dance show. It's not Masked Singer, it's Masked Dancer. So, like, we're putting or trying to contribute to putting dance on a map for
True,
people, you
right.
know?
So we'll continue pushing it.
Yeah.
I think that this is where it's perfect to to wrap this one up till the next time we do stuff, which is maybe very soon.
Maybe
Yeah.
in a week.
By the way, we're still
We're doing another
stuff.
class here.
We're doing
Shout out
stuff.
DANCE&CO.
What do you guys think of this? By the way, just
Dance&CO?
straight up in front in a seat opinion.
Oh, I think Dance&Co is literally a dancer or especially a non-dancer's dream. I mean,
yeah.
I think I was actually thinking about this on my run this morning. When we think about a dancer or the word dance, I think it's very intimidating for a non-dancer to think about dance, and because you think about how do I dance, how do I do this? That's me with like singing or acting. I get very intimidated. But to have a platform that goes from literally a basic level to then a beginner, to then an intermediate, to an advanced, I think it's so cool that they get to experience this from the best of the best in what we do. I think it's a non-dancer's dream and a dancer's dream. I mean, and then also because I'm from a world where we don't do ballroom, or not that we don't do ballroom, it wasn't as popular as it is now when I first started dance, especially where I'm from, and I just never had that knowledge. For me to be able to like go on an app and then learn how to do a rumba and a cha-cha and a samba, that is like, I mean, I wish I could tell all my students back home, like, you guys better do this. And I do, but the luxury that everybody has now on this app to learn so much in one app, it's incredible. I think it's awesome.
Well, thanks for contributing.
Yeah, anytime.
Great.
I'll do a little
Glad to be here.
a little 1-2 stuff when
Hey.
I can.
Love you, Kicks.
Love you.
boo.
I love you.
Love you, Sloth.
Mwah.
Love you, Slothy.
Let's do it again. Well,
Yay.
not that, but you guys are gonna keep doing that. But
Yeah, and you're gonna keep doing your
do
thing, and then
something
we'll
else.
Hey,
all
we'll be here.
one
do something
day
else.
we're gonna do another thing where it's gonna all be in a circle.
And then another thing.
and then
And then
And then
another
another
thing. And cut.